Washington, U.S. Senator Charles Schumer made a final public appeal Wednesday against the U.S. tariff on Canadian paper, warning that thousands of American jobs are at risk in the newspaper and publishing industry. Schumer, D-N.Y, said he hopes U.S. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross considers the broader impact on the economy when his department decides next week whether to make the tariff permanent on uncoated groundwood paper, used as newsprint by newspapers. The Commerce Department imposed a temporary tariff of up to 22% in March. Schumer told Ross in a phone call earlier this month that the tariff has resulted in cutbacks and job losses at newspapers across the United States, and threatens the existence of small, community newspapers. The only saving grace here, if you can call it that, it is that these tariffs are temporary, Schumer said Wednesday in a conference call with reporters. Schumer said he made a strong case with Ross, who seemed to understand the gravity of the situation for the newspaper and publishing industry. Ross seemed sympathetic, but you never know what's going on, Schumer said. We can nip it in the bud if Commerce says they're not going to have it. I'm going to do everything I can to stop this counterproductive, job-killing tariff. The tariff would simply expire if the Commerce Department decides not to make it permanent, Schumer said. But if the Commerce Department keeps the tariff in place, the case could ultimately be decided by the International Trade Commission, an independent federal agency. A bipartisan group of elected officials last week asked the International Trade Commission in Washington to rule against making the tariff permanent. About 20 members of Congress testified against the tariff at a public hearing. A final ruling from the commission is expected in September. Rep. Brian Higgins, D. Buffalo, told commission members that New York printers and publishers had to make severe cost-cutting measures. He said the tariff has cost the Buffalo News about $600,000 per month as prices for Canadian newsprint spiked up to 30%. No members of Congress support the tariff, which is also opposed by the association representing the paper industry and other paper mill owners in the U.S. and Canada. Commerce Department approved the preliminary tariff in response to a complaint from a single paper mill, North Pacific Paper Co., in Washington state. The mill, which employs about 385 people, is owned by a private equity firm in New York City. The company claims that Canadian newsprint suppliers have a price advantage because of government subsidies. The mill is among only 5 in the United States that still produce newsprint. Demand for the product has dropped 75% in the U.S. since 2000 amid declining circulation and cutbacks by newspapers. In an open letter last week, Canadian Ambassador David McNaughton said the tariffs will only hurt the industry they are intended to protect as more newspapers close or cut back their use of newsprint. McNaughton said North Pacific Paper Co.'s profits were not hurt by Canadian newsprint, which primarily supplies markets in the Northeast and Midwest. This rogue actor seeks to game American trade laws for its own short-term advantage, McNaughton wrote, while putting thousands of U.S. and Canadian jobs at risk. Contact Mark Wiener, email, Twitter, Facebook, 571-970-3751.